Well, you are being distracted yet again by the mainstream media. Right now, if you turn on the telly, all you'll see is mainstream media talking about Jack Smith's 165-page briefing about Donald J. Trump and January 6th and how many crimes that Donald Trump supposedly committed, which basically, all that brief is just a brief. It is Jack Smith giving his freaking opinion about what happened, and it's all hearsay. None of it has been proven as an actual conviction, if you will, against Donald J. Trump. But the main point of that, as you guys are already well aware, because you guys follow me on my channel here, is that it's just a distraction, and it is quite frankly a distraction from three separate things. Number one, the fact that J.D. Vance blew Tim Walz out of the water with the debate. Hopefully you guys got a chance to see that. I think there was one blip in the mainstream media and then they kind of remained silent and went directly to Jack Smith, right? That's one thing they want to distract you from. So I'm not going to let it go. J.D. Vance did win the election and he killed it, metaphorically speaking. Number two, Hurricane Helene and the response from the Biden administration. And well, actually, the Harris administration, let's put that correctly. Their response was rather delayed and quite sick, to put it bluntly. And number three, FEMA itself. And you guys are going to be absolutely blown away. This is probably one of the biggest reports I've done on FEMA. So you're going to want to watch this report through its entirety. But let's start first with the fact that, the Harris and Biden response to the hurricane was absolutely atrocious. Take a look at this, and this is on nysun.com, and its headline: Biden facing criticism for slow response to Hurricane Helene, directs active duty military to aid rescue efforts. The article goes on: after days, keyword there, of fierce criticism, and hours before he was due to arrive in the Carolinas to survey Hurricane Helene's damage, President Biden announced that he is finally calling up to 1,000 active duty soldiers to aid in rescue efforts. To be quite frank, you don't wait days later and then send help in, right? There's been a lot of people on the ground there who are suffering, and my heart and prayers are going out to all of you. And meanwhile, the government doesn't do jack. That's why I always tell you guys, make sure you prepare. Don't rely on the government because they just don't care about you. And you're going to see that in just a moment. And here's another article from econotimes.com. Kamala Harris goes full Biden because she's always been Biden, refuses to answer question on botched hurricane response during the FEMA briefing. The article goes on to state VP Harris is facing heavy criticism after refusing to take questions during a FEMA briefing on the government's response to the recent hurricane disaster. The staged event, intended to provide updates on the relief efforts, left many reporters frustrated as they were ushered out of the room before they could ask critical questions about the handling of the situation. And just to be frank, if this is how she's handling natural disasters, thou shalt not talk to me, this is how she's going to handle her presidency as well. Just something to think about. But the article goes on to detail a little more here. The federal government's handling of the hurricane response has been widely criticized in recent days, with reports of delayed aid and disorganized relief efforts in several hard-hit areas. Many residents are still waiting for crucial assistance, and they should not be, by the way. And local leaders have expressed frustration with FEMA's slow response. Harris's decision not to address these issues head-on has only deepened concerns about the administration's ability to manage large-scale disasters effectively. In other words, they can't, right? This was her chance to reassure the public and provide transparency. And of course, she absolutely and utterly failed at that. Completely failed, right? And I'm going to show you why she is failing on that. And quite frankly, she's putting non-Americans ahead of actual Americans, regardless of the fact that we've just had a massive natural disaster. So how does she respond even more? Well, she throws up a staged photo of herself like she's taking relief calls, right? The post-millennial comma slammed over staged hurricane recovery photo with unplugged headphones and a blank paper. You've probably already seen this, but for those of you who haven't, look very closely at the wire hanging from her ear, which is not plugged into the phone. Usually, as Donald Trump says, you have to plug the two in to hear what's going on. So it's just a stage photo. Whether or not she did it, who knows? But we do know that there has been a massively delayed response from her. But don't worry. She is now telling everybody that she's now paying attention. Take a listen to this clip.
Thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
Mayor, I'm going to play it again. Mayor, I am now listening. Take a listen.
Thank you all. Mayor, I am now listening.
Just now, Kamala Harris. Wow, she is now listening, you folks. At least she admits that. Not only that, but there's also this. She's decided, not so generously, but generously, to give $750 to those affected by the hurricane who have just had their entire lives usurped. Take a listen.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
$750, by golly, for those who need immediate needs met. Wow, you know what? There have been stories and rumors, shall we say, of people trying to fly in to help victims, and then they're being told not to do that, because this isn't their area to do that. Excuse me? No, seriously. Hey, where's FEMA on this anyway? Hey, where's FEMA? Well, they've got some issues of their own under the Biden administration, right? Because they don't really have their priorities straight. This is huge, folks. This is the part that they really want to hide from you and distract from you, and it's what I'm about to show you right now. Take a look. FEMA goes into hurricane season low on funds for second straight year in a row. And this is nrdc.org. What's going on with FEMA? What's going on? Well, as of August 7th, FEMA implemented immediate need funding due to low balances in the Disaster Relief Fund, or the DRF. Immediate needs funding means that FEMA is pausing disaster recovery and rebuilding efforts across the country. As of this writing, FEMA is managing 614 major disaster declarations covering disasters dating back more than 19 years, affecting all 50 states and 6 U.S. territories. Really? That's pretty massive, right? They're going to need a lot of money for that. Then it goes on. According to the agency's August 7th DRF report, $4.5 billion is available in the DRF. FEMA estimates it will need $11.5 billion to cope with disaster it expects to happen over the remainder of the fiscal year, which would leave them short about $7 billion. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, they're blaming Congress for this. Thanks to the House and Senate's collective failure to replenish the DRF, FEMA is pausing disaster recoveries across the nation. And it goes to show some of their disaster recoveries that, they're pausing. Wow. What else is going on with FEMA? So they're short funds. How'd that happen? Because they get an awful lot of money. Well, America First Legal has answers as to why that's happening. And the hurricane victims are not getting the support that they need. Hey, $750 for you. Where's the money going? Let's take a look here. This is American First Legal. They put this on their X page. Misplaced priorities. Over the last 4 years, the Biden-Harris admin has steadily transformed FEMA, the agency responsible for natural disasters like Hurricane Helene, into an illegal alien resettlement agency that emphasizes DEI over public safety. Wait, what? Yeah, they are transforming FEMA into an illegal alien resettlement agency. But let's bring the receipts, right? Here it is. Emergency Food and Shelter Program. This is a program that is FEMA funded. And if you look on the screenshot here, I'm going to blow that up. The Emergency Food and Shelter Program is a FEMA funded program authorized by the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act of 1987. The program supplements and expands ongoing work of local nonprofit and governmental social service organizations to provide shelter, food, and supportive services to individuals and families who are experiencing housing or at risk of experiencing hunger or homelessness. Here's the key point. The program may also receive funding to award to the National Board for Distribution to local social service organizations that provide humanitarian relief to families and individuals encountered by DHS. But it goes on, right? Number 2, this is the second thread. The Shelter and Service Program is designated to exclusively provide shelter and services to illegal aliens. Over $1 billion in your tax-paying money has been allocated between 2003 and 2004. And here it is, Shelter and Service Program. The SSP is administered by FEMA in partnership with Custom and Border Protection, CBP. SSP provides financial support to non-federal entities to provide humanitarian services to non-citizen migrants following their release from DHS. The intent is to support CBP in the safe, orderly, and humane release of non-citizen migrants from short-term holding facilities. Where's the money going? Here you go. $650 allotted to that in 2024, and in 2023 we have about $363 million. Altogether, between 2023 and 2024, we're talking the tune of $1 billion. And is this why we have a shortage? We don't have enough funds to protect people here in the United States of America because you're sending millions, billions, $1 billion into that? It seems like their priorities are not really straight, doesn't it? We're pausing disaster relief here in the United States. We're unable to meet the needs of the people who were just affected by the hurricane, and we're sending $1 billion right now. It's not the time to do it, is it? It's not exactly the right, or how about you make it even somewhere, right? But that's not the case. It goes on. For example, that $1 billion that was given to FEMA, $38 million went to New York City, a sanctuary city, right? Who in turn handed out gift cards to these people and hotels to illegal aliens. Here's where that money went. We can't even hand out hotels to victims right now who are hurting from the hurricane. But wait, there's more, right? Moreover, the Emergency Food and Shelter Program has been reshaped to provide fundings to families and individuals encountered by DHS, right? 685 allocated to fund illegal aliens. I think everybody needs a little help sometimes, right? I get it. But now it's to the detriment of people who have literally lost their entire livelihoods to this hurricane. And we're out of help, we're out of aid suddenly. It doesn't seem like the priorities of our government are exactly where they should be. Oh, but hey, don't worry. Under Kamala Harris, they've got some new little regulations over at FEMA. You know what their number one goal is? It is helping people who are affected by disaster. No, wait. That's actually not their number one goal. It's supposed to be, right? Because that's what they're all about. That's not their number one goal. Take a look at this. This is going to upset you. FEMA's number one goal, to instill equity as a foundation of emergency management. That's their goal, folks. That's their goal. Not to help people during a disaster. Isn't that what FEMA was created for? That's their goal. In fact, here's an entire document that they put out in November of 2023 under the Harris administration on how to achieve equitable recovery. How do they achieve that? Well, here's their goals. Goal 1, build equity into the recovery organization and coordination structure. Identify unequal patterns of disasters. I didn't know that. Strike me as weird, but I didn't know that hurricanes can affect people of color over white people or I didn't know it only attacked certain races, but according to this, it's kind of what it does. Yeah. It goes on to all their topics there. And let's just scroll a little further because I want to know who they're saying is disproportionately affected by these disasters. Well, they say people disproportionately affected by these disasters include tribal nations, women, LGBTQ, people with disabilities, victims of Really? Single moms. What does that have any... I didn't know that hurricanes seek out certain people to go after. Isn't that weird? It's ludicrous. A hurricane doesn't care what the color of your skin is or what religion you are or what gender you claim to be, right? It really doesn't. Or if you're LGBTQ or not, they don't care. This is the craziest stuff I have ever heard. Oh, and it concludes with Kamala Harris's famous statement, right? The National Association of Colleges and Employers states equity means recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and we must acknowledge and make adjustments to account for imbalances. It's an ongoing process to understand the arising bias of systemic structures. That sounds like something Karl Marx would say, right out of the books of Karl Marx and the whole 9 yards. I'm disgusted. I'm literally disgusted. I can't tell you, but this is the thing. That's what they want to distract you from, and that's exactly what they are distracting you from. And that's the deal, right? She didn't do her job to take care of those people, and I think because they don't have the funding that they need, and she knows it. But she offered a pity gift of $750 to each victim that was disproportionately affected by the hurricane, which includes white males, by the way, whatever. I'm just, these agencies like FEMA are going to do us no good if their number one goal is not to protect people from disaster. Isn't that what they're supposed to do? Instead, their number one goal is by far. We're in for more of this. If they get another 4 years, and I'm a little charismatic today, I know, but it's this kind of stuff where I see people seriously hurting, right? I've been affected by tornadoes. I lived pretty much on Tornado Alley growing up, right? I remember we lived in a single wide trailer, and so we would go into the bathtub and throw a mattress over our head. That's all I had. I had a neighbor that had a brick house that eventually they built a brick house. I'd run over there in the event of some kind of disaster, but it's just insane. These people are hurting. Our money's going elsewhere, not to mention Ukraine. They're sending all these billions of dollars to Ukraine. Why don't they take some of that money to help the people in this country? Give it to FEMA. Let FEMA do their job. And stop with this DEI stupid nonsense. Storms don't disproportionately affect certain people based off the color of their skin or what gender they ascribe to. It just happens. It's called weather changes. It's natural. It's unfortunately a part of life. But my heart hurts that these people are being used, that you're being distracted by Jack Smith's case while these people are suffering. And suffering a great deal. Anyhow, with that, please don't forget to check out my sponsor and my longtime sponsor, news.noblegoldinvestments.com/Lisa Haven. Look, right now, I want to encourage you, check out their information, because right now silver is going through the roof, and you can get a silver IRA with Noble Gold Investments. In fact, because of all these solar panels, they need that silver paste to run a lot of these panels, so that's causing silver to like skyrocket. And right now our United States dollar is not doing so well, so you want to make sure you diversify your profile, and you can do that by going to noblegoldinvestments.com. So check them out today, and if you really want to get in the know, fill out this information, click get my free guide, and they're going to send you a gold and silver investment guide absolutely free of charge, or give them a call at 1-877-646-5347 and let them know you heard it on Lisa Haven, because right now they are giving away up to 10 of these 1 ounce Donald Trump silver coins here, or even a 10 ounce gold American flag bar with any approved plan. So make sure you mention that you heard it on Lisa Haven. By the way, there's always a risk to investing. There's never a guarantee. If you want more information, click that more button if you're on your cell phone, or click the link in the description box below. All right. Well, with that, I love all of you. And I'm Lisa Haven signing out.